Hi, and welcome to the Ada K Show. I am Ada K. Brown, and am currently a criminal justice major, and I'm a deaf courtroom commentator. Grab a cup of Java, and let's dive in. Good morning, everybody. I hope this finds you well. I hope that beep is not in your ears as it is in mine. Welcome. I'm Ada K. We are in the beginning of the Karen Retrial, and we are okay. I'm going to turn off this and find out where the beep is. I have no idea where that beep is coming from. Okay, I think it was from one of our feeds. Okay, that was from the live feed. Hi, everybody. I'm Ada K. This is the day 3 in the Karen retrial and day 3 of shenanigans technology-wise as we get up and going. Get behind thee, Satan. No. I want to thank you all for being here this morning. It is an early morning for some of us. It's an afternoon for others, and others it's super late. We have people that watch this channel from all over the world, and I want to say thank you so much for supporting us and being here with us. Good morning, Gerald. Good morning, June. One sunny day. Good morning, Miss Ronnie. Good morning. Good morning. I've already had a little brief time with you this morning. Thank you so much for being a fabulous mod. Let's get back. I go and make sure my levels are fine. Let's see which one of those beautiful bean footages had that weird beep in it. Oh, they're both good right now. Okay. So, how did you sleep? I hope you slept well. Yesterday, we started off with Karen Roberts on the phone. Oh, there we go. I mean, on the phone, on the witness stand. I think she did okay. I think there were times that she was good for the Commonwealth, other times she was good for the defense. I think that the Commonwealth thought she was going to be their one of their main witnesses that was going to set up the case. Do I think that she did a wonderful job at that? Sort of. Was she impeached? Not really. She didn't. The impeachment, I don't think applies. A lot of people were screaming impeachment on her, but I will say I do believe that she definitely. There we go. My notebook, that she definitely was not forthcoming with some of the information with the grand jury. She did get caught into what I call white lies. So we'll see how all that goes. We'll see. Right now, we had a Cellbrite data person on yesterday. Let me get my paper. Come on. Let go of my paper. I kept notes on some people. So, Margaret O'Keefe, the mother of the deceased, got on the stand, shared a little bit about his life, who he was. Um, the cross examination, there was none. There was no cross examination, y'all. I think the defense was smart in not doing that. Then they got Daniel Whitney and he is a Canton firefighter. Talked a lot about what he saw on scene and what he did. And then now we have Nicholas Guarino on the stand, and he is a Cellbrite data for the MSPD. And so that is where we ended up the day. Of course, we started and ended the day with drama and motions for this trial. And I have an order of production of records given yet again by Judge Cannoli. I want to call her Cannoli. I want to call her Cannoli. I do. I want to call her Cannoli. Hey, Cannoli. That's what I want to show. Oh, I hear noise. We got people coming into court. Da 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 da. I'm going to expand this real quick. Yep, we got people coming to court. I'm going to pause it for a sec because I got to do something. I hereby order that Daniel Wolf and Dr. Andrew Retrial, our co-witnesses, are to produce all documents shown, all records with ARCA or its owners, partners, employees, or representative possession, custody, or control in whatever format kept that reflect in or on or reflect or in any way related to the work performed or completed and are related to any billing, payments, compensation, and or reimbursement of any kind in connection with the Commonwealth versus Reed. The records must be produced by April 25th. That's tomorrow by 9 a.m. The order includes, by the way of example, not limited to all correspondence via emails. So they're having to turn over every single ounce of information that they have. Every single ounce of information. Okay, so they're already back in court dealing with all those motions. Before we go in, I have to make an announcement. And this is with a heavy heart, and I don't know how to do this. And I'm going to try and do this and not be upset. Many of us, I love supporting other people on my channel. People supported me. I love to support other people. And I was frauded. We were frauded. Thousands of us have been frauded. And I know by saying this, and the person's watching this is going to get angry, understand this is not about what you did as much as I have to protect my channel. I have to protect my viewers. And many of us have supported Toxic Orchid and As the Gavel Drops. Now, understand, As the Gavel Drops is under management, new management right now. It is still up and running. I have nothing against As the Gavel Drops as an entity or those who are now running As the Gavel Drops. Some of us have heard that it may shut down. It is still up and running. However, Toxic Orchid is not a part of it at this time. There have been a lot of lies and a lot of deceit. That's all I'm going to say. And I did a sponsor support where I asked people to go to buy me a coffee and support them because they have a paywalls and they're trying to get documents and we are benefiting from that. And I still do not regret I had a monthly membership with her and I still support people who do what As the Gavel Drops, and I still support them. But as a person, as an individual, Toxic Orchid is no longer at this time a part of As the Gavel Drops, as far as my understanding. I am protecting you, my viewers, and my mods, and those of you who donated to buy me a cup of coffee. If you don't get a refund within the week, go to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and request a refund. You can do it now if you wish, but unfortunately, her page has been taken down, so you're gonna have to contact them directly. I repeat, I've gotten 2 months refunded to me as of today's date. It happened this morning, so she did not lie about that. I never throw people out there and ask people to donate to them unless I think and believe that I'm sure that this is a good situation. She's been known throughout the community for years, and I thought she was a safe person for me to do so, and it was not safe. I ask your apology because I'm a person of integrity. I don't like being in the position I'm in. I prayed about doing this because I didn't want to come forward and then y'all find out and say, "Why didn't you tell us?" So I'm risking wrath on one end to protect you and my channel, and I will continue to do that. If you have questions or concerns, you can contact me in Discord, private message me, or reach out to a mod. At this time, again, I'm going to say I still support As the Gavel Drops as an entity. I will still support As the Gavel Drops with the leadership that's in place right now, and I will continue to do so unless there are problems with that situation. Hello, baby kitty. My emotional support kitty, not. Um, I am looking forward to moving on. So please, at this time, if you'd like to read documents and court documents, or you're a member over there, do not leave because as the gavel drops, like I said, as an entity with the people running it are good people. Okay. We will continue to pray for Toxic and that hope and pray that she gets the help and support she needs to get through the time. None of us are perfect. I've said that to her, but at the same time, I must protect you and my channel. So with that, oh, you called her El Destroyo this morning. Are you in a fit this morning? She never does this. She never does this. So we will not talk about this much. I will continue for the next couple of days to make this announcement to make sure that everybody who donated to uh, the Buy Me a Coffee at as the Gavely will have the information so they can get a refund. Your credits for the drawing will stay in place. I'm not going to punish you for that. I'm not going to take those away. Allie, I mean, not Allie, Ellie. Her name is Ellie. So, with that, thank you so much for your support and continued support. And know that if I find out something has gone wrong or awry that we're connected with, I'm going to come to you. And I hope this shows you the integrity that I have with this channel. And I apologize if I led you down the wrong path, but it was done so in innocence. With that, we are now going to go over to Judge Canoni. We're going to go to the as the gavel drop. I mean, as gavel drops. We're going to go over to the trial. We're going to get started. I today, by the way, I have to make this announcement. Today, you will be seeing me pedaling in the background. I lost a lot of valuable time and things that I had to do yesterday, dealing with all this. So I am here, but if you see me kind of looking like that, I'm taking care of some things, but I have to do it. It's not a choice. Okay, with that, I have got to get used to doing my little swoops so I can mark where things are. I'm trying to put timestamps, y'all. That's new for me. Semi. All right. So,
For rebuttal, like post for responding. Okay. Okay. What's your position, Ms. Little? You want to? All right. Mr. Brennan, is there any reason not to?
I need to give it some thought. I'm not willing to agree. I'll abide by whatever the court thinks is fair.
So
I
why
haven't
don't
given-
you think about it? We'll address it later today. Okay, there's no expert testimony today, right?
It's not.
Okay. All right, sure. Is that it? Ready to bring the jury in? You wanted a ruling on the clip from yesterday?
I did.
All right, you can play it.
Thank you.
All right, so
Damn it.
we'll take a quick break.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Oh, man. So they got in the ruling. They got the ruling in, and that frustrates me that they are going to be able to play the clips. I don't like particularly how he's presenting these clips, but that's the court's letting him. Well, hello, honey. You are, she never does this, y'all. What? She went through a phase where she was hiding all the time. I don't understand. She is the softest cat I've ever had. The softest cat I ever had. And her nails are like little needles in my arm. Okay, so apparently they're going to be able to play the video clips. Let me see who we have. I want to thank everybody who's joining me via YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and X-Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you so very much. Oh, I just saw something. Let's see. Crews race to contain major chemical leak in Houston, Texas. There's a major chemical leak in Houston, Texas. If you live anywhere near that, please be safe. We also have had a lot of weather stuff going on. I pray that y'all are safe. I'm looking, double checking my Discord, making sure everything is there, everything is okay. Ooh. Thank you thank you so much, Gabby. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I will look at it in a minute. Member chat. By the way, let's talk about my Discord. We do have a Discord. I'm learning to be more active in Discord. I'm learning Discord. Like I told somebody, this channel grew so fast that I could barely keep up with learning what I had to learn. So yay. Yay. Oh, by the way, y'all, we are playing bingo. Every day is a new card. Every day is a new start. So go to our Discord, and you too can access all of the bingo cards. I think I put them up yesterday. I'm going right now. I think they're in members chat. If I'm looking for them, yes. So I'm going to copy and paste these. Let me go back to the first one and do it in order. You have 3 to choose from, hopefully soon 4. If you get a bingo in any line or way, any shape or way, other than the 4 corners and postage stamp or kite, it's the diagonal, straight, and up and down, you may put bingo in the comments so we can give you extra earnings into the giveaway.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable Beverly Canoni, the Justice of the Superior Court, now holding in Dedham within and for the County of Norfolk. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is in session. Please be seated.
22117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, good morning again, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors. I have to ask you those same 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we were here yesterday? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left here yesterday? No. Everyone said no or should. Thank you very much. Can we bring Mr. Whitman back in, please? Ms. Gianetti, you can step up to the podium.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Yannetti is taking this witness. Wow.
Sir, I'll remind you, you're still under oath. Thank you.
Can I proceed?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley, yesterday you testified that
Okay, real quick before we get going, I have pinned the bingo cards at the top of our chat. You may go over there and at the top of the chat in YouTube and get yourself a bingo card. You can select one or all three. Okay, and make sure that every day that you play, you clear out your bingo card. Do not carry it over. Yes, we are. That's what I was getting ready to say. We are continuing this morning with Daniel Whitney, EMT. Yes, this was the last witness from yesterday.
when Karen Reed was brought to the hospital, she didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny, and she didn't want to give.
Okay, let me change some of those who do not know what that means. A Johnny. A Johnny is basically a padded blanket that they've made into a gown. It is not something that you really want to be in. They strip you naked and put you in that
A urine sample.
so you don't
All
harm
that
yourself.
I do. It was clear to you that her reluctance to cooperate at that time was because she very much wanted to check on John's progress and status at the hospital, correct?
No, I don't believe that to be the case.
Well, you testified before the grand jury regarding this matter 3 years ago, didn't you?
I don't believe I said that she was
I
reluctant.
didn't ask you that question. You testified before the grand jury 3 years ago, didn't you?
I testified before the grand jury 3 years ago.
You were under oath then, as you're under oath today, correct?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth.
I am telling the truth.
You swore to tell the truth in 2022 before the grand jury, did you not?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
That was less than 3 months after you brought Karen Reed to the hospital, didn't you?
Yeah.
And your memory of what happened at the hospital was very good in April of 2022, right?
As good as today.
Your memory in April of 2022 was very good, wasn't it?
It was very good as it is today.
Okay, so you want to add the as it is today, despite the fact that you weren't asked that question. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right.
Ooh,
When
we got it
questioned by Mr.
sustained.
Lally at the grand jury, you were asked the following question. So what, if any, interaction did you have with her, meaning Ms. Reed, at the hospital once you were there? You remember that question, right?
I do.
And your answer was, after that, I helped escort her down to, they call it the psych hallway, where they have rooms set up for psychiatric patients for their evaluation. And then she was unhappy that she wasn't able to see him, meaning John. And she kept trying to. She didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny. She didn't want to, I believe, give a urine sample. She was not, the nurses were asking her to do certain things that every patient has to do, and she was not cooperating with them. Do you remember that answer?
I do.
So 3 years ago, when you testified about this issue of giving a urine sample, you testified under oath that you believed that she didn't want to give a urine sample, correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, 3 years later, you testified with certainty that she didn't want to give them, right?
Yeah, she was giving them a hard time about having to give a urine sample.
Right. No, I'm asking you about your testimony yesterday in contrast to the grand jury, sir.
Okay.
To the extent that I ask yes or no question, I'd like yes or no answers.
So
okay?
no instructions to the witness, Ms.
Your
Giannetti.
Honor, may
Ask
the
a
witness be
question.
instructed to answer the question yes or no if it calls for a yes or no question.
Woo!
Answer.
Answer the question that's asked of you. Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, ask a question.
You testified yesterday that she didn't want to give a urine sample without saying it was your belief that she didn't want to give one, correct?
Correct.
In any case, were you aware that when she was asked to give a urine sample, that Ms. Reed had gotten her period and did not have a tampon?
I was aware
Whoa.
she was on her period. Yes.
TMI.
You're also aware that when somebody is brought to the hospital for a Section 12, they have no privacy. Isn't that right?
They have medical privacy. Either the tech or the nurse would be with the patient at all times.
Okay. With them at all times, observing them at
Observing
all
them,
times,
correct.
correct?
So they wouldn't be, she wasn't in like a hallway open to the public.
Understood, sir. But she also, when I said privacy, what I was asking is, she was not allowed to go to the bathroom alone to give a urine sample, correct?
She was a psychiatric patient.
Right. So she would have to use the bathroom in front of hospital personnel or some medical personnel with people watching her while she was on her period with no tampon, correct?
I would understand that to be true.
All right. And you're aware that she did cooperate and eventually give a blood sample as well, correct?
I'm not aware of a blood sample, but urine sample, yes.
She did give the urine sample.
Correct.
All right. Now, in your testimony yesterday, you discussed the topic of your memory of what Karen Reed may have asked you about John surviving in the snow with light clothing. You remember those questions?
I remember asking about not having a jacket, correct?
Now, starting at the end of the day, when I cross-examined you yesterday, I asked you about that topic and I said to you, you mentioned something about hypothermia, that you assumed you may have been dealing with a hypothermia situation. And your answer was, well, she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
But before I cross-examined you at the end of the day yesterday, you previously testified 3 times about this topic, correct?
I believe it would be the grand jury and the previous trial.
Right, and direct examination when Mr. Brennan was asking you questions before I stood up, correct?
Okay, yes.
Let's start with the first time you testified about this topic back in 2022. That
Daryl, can you please come to the studio? Thank you.
was, again, less than 3 months after you had a conversation with Ms. Reed at the scene on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Her statements and questions to you at the scene were fresh in your mind in April of 2022, correct?
Correct.
In April of 2022, before the grand jury, Mr. Lally asked you, quote, what, if any, questions did she ask you regarding hypothermia? Do you remember that question?
I do.
Your answer was, she was just wondering if he could have survived outside in the cold even though he didn't have a jacket on. Do you remember giving that answer?
I do.
Nowhere in that answer in 2022, less than 3 months after these events, do you attribute the words, quote, many hours, end quote, in the snow to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes, I was not.
I'm not
qualify
asking
it.
for an explanation, sir. I'm asking for an answer.
All right, so he was answering you, Mr.
My
Yannetti.
question called for a yes or no answer. Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you attribute the words many hours in the snow to Ms. Reed, yes or no?
No, I did not say that at that point.
Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
She did. At that-
Sir, I'm asking you about your testimony.
I object.
So let him answer the question.
Let me ask it again. Nowhere in your answer in 2022 did you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
In 2022, I testified that I was just told to be brief and give generalizations. She quantified many hours in the snow when we were back at the
Let me
ambulance.
try this again, sir.
So,
because
Mr. Yannetti, you're just saying 2022. Get to a
Of
date
course,
and a
yes.
place.
April of 2022, okay, before the grand jury. My question again, and I'm still seeking a yes or no answer from you, okay? Nowhere in your answer
She's not going to let
in
the
April of 2022.
the defense
before
have what
grand
they
jury,
need.
Did you testify under oath that Ms. Reed told you that John had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
Not in 2022 of April, no.
Okay. The next time you testified under oath was last year in 2024, correct?
Correct.
During that testimony, Mr. Lally asked you, oh, by the way, so 2022 is no mention of many hours, right?
I did not, and I was told to be brief on the grand jury stand.
But again, no mention of
Right.
many hours in 2022. Okay. Now, 2024, last year, Mr. Lally asked you, so firefighter Whitley, at some point, specific to your conversations with the defendant, Ms. Reed, can you describe sort of her demeanor or any observations you made in relation to that as you were speaking with her? And your answer was, yes, she was very upset. She kept asking if there was any chance. She kept asking us if we knew if the person ambulance 1 had transported was alive or dead, and we could not speak to that. She asked if somebody could be alive in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
So 2022, there was no mention of many hours. 2024, over time, now that's the first time that you mention the words many hours in your testimony regarding this case, correct?
Correct.
Right? And when you testified last year, you testified still that she was asking you a question about surviving in the snow, correct?
Correct.
So then we come to yesterday on direct examination. Do you recall that Mr. Brennan yesterday asked you, before you left, were you having any conversations with the defendant? And you answered yes. Recall that yesterday?
Is that at the hospital?
I'm asking you yesterday, do you recall Mr. Brennan asking you before you left essentially the scene, were you having any conversations with the defendant? And your answer was yes.
You're talking about Lee, I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same instance. Are we talking about when we left the hospital or when we left Fairview Road?
When you were at Fairview Road, leaving Fairview Road, we're talking about the same subject of what Ms. Reed supposedly told you or asked you. Okay, Mr. Brennan went into that with you.
So on the way to, you're talking on the way to the hospital in terms of left, when we left.
Well, before you left, he meant before you left the scene.
Okay,
When
no,
you
I'm
were-
just trying to clarify.
Again, it's the same conversation, Mr. Whitley. I'm not
So,
trying to trick you.
Mr. Yannetti, he just asked for a point of reference. It's clear. Now go.
Understood. And Mr. Brennan said, can you share with the jury what those conversations were about? And your answer was, so we were talking, she was upset. She kept asking if there was any chance her husband could be alive, even sitting outside in the snow without any coat for many hours. Do you recall that answer that you gave yesterday on direct examination?
Yes.
And that was the first time that you mentioned that she said supposedly or asked supposedly about him sitting outside in the snow, correct?
I was just using phrases generally speaking.
Not my question.
I wasn't at that point I was paraphrasing. I was not speaking verbatim to what she said.
Let's try that again. That was the first time that you mentioned that she claimed or asked that he was sitting outside, correct?
It could have been sitting, laying, being.
Let's try it a third time.
Good morning,
Was that-
everybody.
Just ask the question, not let's try it.
Sure.
Let's try it.
Oh,
Was
come
that
on,
the
Bev.
first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed said or asked about him sitting outside?
Are you asking me to clarify whether she used the
I'm not
word
asking you
sitting?
to clarify anything. I'm asking you whether that was the first time yesterday during direct examination that you mentioned that she asked about him sitting outside.
I'm sorry. I am very confused because I'm trying to.
Okay, are y'all confused? Someone respond. Are you confused? Do you have any questions about what he's asking? I know what he's asking, but this guy doesn't want to give a yes or no answer. So this is kind of looking like it coming across as a bully, but he's being brutal and that's his job.
Figure out if he was being outside, sitting outside.
I'm asking you about Ms. Reed's statements, sir. That's all I've been asking you about. Her
Okay.
statements to you and your testimony about her statements to you. Was yesterday on direct examination the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed mentions the words sitting outside?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm just using, she might have said laying outside, being outside, outside.
Okay, so when you testified yesterday before this jury
Yes,
that she mentioned the words sitting outside, you're now saying that that might not have been accurate, correct?
it could have been a different word.
Okay, but you didn't say it could have been a different word yesterday. You just left it as sitting outside, correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I said, sitting.
All right, so now we get from, the grand jury with many hours mentioned to questions about many hours to sitting outside to let's talk about what you said on cross-examination.
I object.
Okay, the objection sustained.
Sure.
Good morning, Miss Elena.
On
Hello.
cross-examination,
Hola.
Your words were, she said he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours, correct?
She had asked if he had been outside, if there was any chance he could be alive, even though he was outside without a jacket for many hours.
So it always was a question, correct?
It was a question.
She never said what you said on cross-examination yesterday, which was she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours. That was not a declarative statement by Ms. Reed, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Was that a declarative statement by Ms. Reed?
She asked if he could be alive without a jacket in the snow for many
All right,
hours.
so again, it was a question, sir.
She asked me, and we were just trying to give her hope in terms of telling stories of hypothermic.
But yesterday it was a comment, not a question. I know Mr. Yeti is kind of probably rubbing some of y'all wrong, and you may think he's coming across too hard. I personally believe he's getting what he needs. It may be hard because a witness is making it harder.
Patients that could survive outside in the snow.
Okay, is there any redirect?
Briefly.
Okay.
When you were called to the grand jury, was the testimony as in-depth and as long as it is in front of this jury?
No, not even close.
When you're recounting your memories of what happened, do you memorize word for word what you've said in the past?
Objection.
As to that form, it's sustained.
When you're recounting the past, do you record your statements personally?
Objection.
I'm going to let that one. Do you record your statement?
No,
Next question.
When you testified in the grand jury, page 90, line 15, and you said the defendant told you, I'm upset if he dies, I want to die. And then you later testify last year, and you said, if my husband dies, I want to die. Do you notice the little differences between those phrases?
I do.
Is that you making up words?
No,
Is that you trying to help a case?
Objection.
As to form, that's sustained.
Are you inventing facts?
no,
Sir, when you were recounting what happened that day, are you using your best memory?
Objection.
When you were asked by the defendant,
Joe, can you
About-
come here, please? Thank you.
how long, or someone out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, do you remember that conversation with her?
I do.
Where were you during that conversation?
We were in the back of the ambulance.
Do you remember it distinctly?
I remember it distinctly. She was looking at me.
When you tried to give her hope and comfort, and you told her stories about other situations where people, maybe children, have fallen through the ice and had hypothermia, did you have that conversation with her in trying to comfort her?
I did.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Did you necessarily share those conversations with the grand jury?
I don't recall if I did or I didn't.
Did you ever write that in your report?
No,
Is it something you typically put everything in your report?
No, we do not write, generally, we only write patient complaint, what happened, what they did, not their opinions or anything like that to what's going on.
Do you have any interest in the outcome of this case?
I do not.
How long have you been a firefighter for?
Since March of 2006, and an EMT since November of 2002.
Over 20 years.
Correct.
You said that you live near Kerry Roberts?
I do.
You've been to a block party for the kids where you've brought the fire engine down?
I do.
I'm going to allow it.
When you're at that block party, do you ever step out and have secret meetings with Kerry Roberts trying to corroborate some conspiracy on their behalf?
No.
I'm going to allow
No.
Put your career on the line?
System.
No further questions.
Any follow-up, Mr. Yannetti?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Firefighter Whitley, you are all set. sir.
Hold on.
Like to play clip 5, Your Honor?
And his mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, I think it looks like he got hit by a car. It looks like he got hit by a car.
These clips to me as a juror would irritate the hell out of me because there's a lot of context around these clips. And I want to know more. I'm like, show me more. Don't show me the little snippets.
All
Show
right,
me
who's
more.
your next witness, Mr. Brennan?
Next witness is Jean DeMoulis.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Your Honor, may we approach you before this?
Okay.
What was that last name? Oh, Demolis. And Jean DeMollis is a keeper of records. I don't understand, but okay. This is witness number 6 for the Commonwealth. This is Jean DeMoulis, keeper of records. Yay. Now I got to get his out. I don't know. I think that may be more of a Cellbrite data type thing. I appreciate Cellbrite data. I appreciate all that they are. But I will tell you, they put me to sleep. Thank you, baby. And the coffee mug? I can just dump it out and bring it back.
Thank you.
He's getting my hydration for me.
You solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case now hearing to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You just scooch in close to the microphone, thanks.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jean DeMoulis. I am the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton.
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up if you would.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You said you're the general manager at CF McCarthy's?
In Canton, yes.
Thank you. How long have you been the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton for?
For 6 years.
Can you briefly describe for the jury what CF McCarthy's is?
It is a restaurant and bar.
At CF McCarthy's, is there a video surveillance system inside?
Yes.
Who owns that video surveillance system?
CF McCarthy's.
Are you familiar with the video system?
Yes.
Have you ever looked at it before?
Yes.
Do you employ people to help the establishment with the video system?
No.
You maintain it on your own?
Yes.
At some point, were you visited by somebody from the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Were you asked whether or not they could view some of your video surveillance?
Yes.
Do you remember the date? Not the date they came to visit you, the date that they were looking for.
I believe it was January 28th, 27th, 28th of
Around that
2022.
time?
Yes.
Did you allow access to the video system?
Yes.
Did you oversee that access to the video system?
Yes.
Was it a state police officer?
It was two state police detectives.
Do you remember their names?
I remember one of the detectives' names. I do not remember the other detective.
The one you remember, could you share the name?
It was Detective Buchnick, Yuri.
Detective Yuri Buchnick.
Yes.
At some point, was he allowed to download information from the surveillance system?
Yes.
Did you watch him do that?
Yes, I did.
At some point, have you been able to briefly look at some of that download?
Yes.
And does it appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the surveillance or the area of your bar?
Yes.
Move to introduce.
Okay, there's no objection, Ms. Giannetti.
There is no objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I play just a small portion?
Sure.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just some random shots from this video, but I want to know if you recognize it. Is this the inside of C.F. McCarthy's?
Yes.
I'm not asking if you have any particular knowledge
I'll be
or
right
information
back.
about that night. I just want to know is this a fair and accurate depiction of what C.F. McCarthy's looks like?
Yes.
Has there been any substantive, significant changes to the inside of that establishment
No.
since this video was taken?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay.
I have no questions.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Your next witness, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Bridget Meehan.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
You solemnly swear the evidence you give the court and jury in the case now hearing to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Good morning. Good morning.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Bridget Meehan.
Where do you work?
I work at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton.
The name maybe tells us a little bit about it, but could you just share a couple lines of what the Waterfall Bar and Grill is?
It's a small family-owned business in Canton. It's in a mixed condo complex.
Are you involved in the ownership of it?
Yes.
How long have you been involved with the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
We've been there approximately 10 years.
Do you help run the establishment?
Yes, I do.
And you were running the establishment back on January 28, 2022? At some point, were you asked or visited to see if your establishment had video surveillance of the inside?
I was.
Does your establishment have video surveillance of the inside?
It does.
Do you have a camera and a server?
Do I have? Yes, I do.
Did you provide video surveillance to the Massachusetts State Police from that night, January 28, 2022?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd like to move this in as an exhibit, please.
Okay. Ms. Giannetti.
No objection.
Thank you.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just a brief clip. Okay, stop, please. Do you see that video?
I do.
Does that depict the inside of McCarthy's?
No.
I'm sorry, the waterfall?
Yes.
I'm trying to switch establishments on you. Back on January 28, 2022, does that look the way it looked then?
Yes.
Has there been any significant changes inside since then?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Meehan.
Thank you.
I'm cold, y'all.
All right, your next witness, Mr. Brennan.
Commonwealth calls Mike Camerano.
We'll go over the bingo cards. We'll go over them at break. Get everybody caught up. No problem. I want everybody to be entered. I don't know why I'm just so cold today. It's an overcast winter spring day. A little overcast.
You solemnly swear the evidence you give to the court and jury in the case now returns from the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Take the stand.
Good morning.
May I?
Please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Camerano.
Mr. Camerano, can I ask how old you are? I'm sorry.
Spell your last name.
Camerano.
And so if you could either move the microphone down a little bit or speak up, or maybe a combination of both, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask you how old you are?
48,
Where do you live?
Canton, Mass.
How long have you lived in Canton for?
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. We have 2 children.
How old are your children, sir?
My daughter is 17. My son is 14.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I met John for the first time at his sister's they had a benefit for his sister in 2013. I met John there for the first time. Then years later, our kids got involved with sports together and they became very close. As they became close, I became very close with John and his family.
Was your daughter close with John's niece?
Yes.
Was your son close with?
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time together through sports and socially?
Yes, we did.
I want to take you forward to January 28th of 2022.
Okay.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Had you, without any discussion of what might have been said, did you have any discussions with John that day?
Yes.
Did you have a plan?
Yes, we were communicating.
At some point, did you decide that you were going to spend some time or go meet John?
Yes. That Friday, my daughter and his daughter, they got acceptance letters to school. So we wanted to get them together so they could enjoy the time together. And, just, go over like how it would be so much fun, something new, different. Yeah, so we were going to meet up after I got out of work.
Was your daughter planning to go to a new school?
Yes.
Where?
Bishop Fan.
And how about his niece?
Same.
They both got accepted to
They
the
both
same
got
school?
accepted to the same school.
Was it a celebratory move?
Yes.
Did you have a plan to bring the children together so they could celebrate?
Yes, we did.
And then separately, you were going to meet John and celebrate?
Correct.
Where did you drop your daughter off?
I dropped my daughter off at John. I went into John's. I was at the house with John and the girls, and we had a little celebration. Talked about how nice it's going to be, fun, change, different, meet new people.
And you celebrated at John's house before you went out?
Correct.
After the celebration with your children, did you and John leave?
Yes.
During that celebration, was there anybody there other than you, John, and your two daughters?
No. No, Karen was not there.
Was there anybody else there?
No, just the two girls, myself and John.
What was the weather like that night?
It was cold.
Whoa, there it is. We
It was
have
not
Oh.
it.
snowing yet.
Was there an expectation? For
Yes,
the
there was
next
an
morning?
expectation. Yes,
What was that?
Bingo
that there was
cards.
going to be a big snowstorm coming in.
A storm was coming.
Yes.
When you left, did you leave in a separate car than John, or did you leave together?
Oh, I wish. I'm so
No,
cold.
we left together. John got in my car and we were leaving. We're going to leave.
Where were the girls?
The girls are in the house, stayed in the house.
They were staying at John's house.
Yes, correct.
Where did you go?
We went to CF McCarthy's.
When you got there, did you know anybody who was there other than you and John?
At that time, no.
Did you spend time at CF McCarthy's?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
Was John drinking?
Yes.
Alcohol?
Yes.
How long were you there for?
A couple hours.
While you were there, did anybody come and meet you that you knew?
Yes.
Who?
A friend. And then Karen came in.
The friend.
Yes.
What was the friend's name?
Kurt.
And then how long after you first got there was it that the defendant arrived?
I would like to say within an hour, so not 100% sure.
You said back home it was a celebratory mood. Was it still a celebratory mood at McCarthy's?
Yes.
When the defendant arrived, did she spend time with you and John?
I've talked briefly to her, and her and John were mostly talking.
Okay. You didn't see any issues?
No.
It was a normal night,
Seemed to be, yes.
as far as you could see.
Yes.
And you saw John drinking.
Yes.
Did you see the defendant drinking?
I saw her with a glass, yes.
Did you leave at the same time that John left?
No, I did not.
When you left, was John still at the establishment?
Yes.
When you left, was the defendant still with him?
Yes.
Why did you leave?
I left because I got a phone call. My son was playing hockey in a backyard, and he got hit with a stick and lost his tooth.
Oh. Where did you go?
I went to my son's friend's house.
Do you know about what time that was when you went to see your son?
I would like to say 9:30, in between 9:30 and 10.
You didn't go back to McCarthy's that night, did you?
No, I did not.
After you helped your son, where did you go next?
I went to pick up my daughter, Madeline,
Did you go?
at John's house.
Did you go in John's house?
No, I did not.
When you got to John's house, did your daughter come out?
No. We went to the side door
Okay.
and rang the doorbell.
And then what happened?
And then my daughter came to the door.
Where did you go?
From there, we left and went home.
When you went home, had the weather changed at all?
It was cool. It might have been flurrying at that time.
No accumulation?
No.
You got home?
Yes.
Did you do anything significant when you got home?
Put the kids to bed, my son, and no, I went to bed.
What's the next thing you remember happening?
Waking up to, I missed some phone calls
Who were the missed phone calls from?
my wife and Karen.
What did you do?
I called my wife.
After speaking to your wife, what did you do?
I got in my car and drove to John's house.
About what time was this?
In between maybe 5 and 6 a.m.
What was your mood at that point?
I was panicked
Why did you go to John's house?
because I went to get Kaylee.
Did you know if she was alone?
Yes,
How long did it take you to get to John's house?
maybe 5-7 minutes.
When you get to John's house, what do you see?
I pull in the driveway. I see that the garage door is open. I go in through the garage door. I don't know if Kaylee was standing there, if the door, she came out the door, and I asked her, if she needed anything, she could get in my car and stay warm.
When you first saw Kaylee, what did she look like?
She looked distraught.
Did you try to help her?
Well, I think I just said everything will be okay.
Did she come with you?
Yes,
Where are you going?
to my house.
So what happens?
So we go to my house, and my daughter's up, and the two girls they were hanging downstairs, just hanging out, just being kids. And then, I don't know, a couple hours later, maybe, Paul called me and asked me to bring Kaylee home.
Did you know anything at that point?
I did, yes.
You did or didn't?
At that point, I did when Paul had told me.
So what do you do?
Ask Madeline and Kaylee if I'd say, Madeline, we come for the ride. I don't say anything to Kaylee, and we get in the car and
Hello, Mary. Thank you
start
for coming
heading
into
back to John's
Facebook.
house.
And you didn't say anything to Kaylee?
No, I didn't. I just said everything will be all right. She had a feeling.
Why do you say that?
She didn't want to go home.
So what happens next?
So I pull in the driveway, and I remember Paul and Papa standing. I think they were standing at the side door, and we just embraced.
Did you stay?
No, not long. No,
Did you go back?
I was to the house. I went back to my house.
Did you go back to John's house?
I did the next day. Yes, I was there.
When you went back, were there people there?
Yes,
Many?
there was people coming and going.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Cameron.
Good morning.
This is quite painful for you to remember the events of January 28th, is it not?
Yes,
You were very close with your friend John O'Keefe, correct?
I was close with them. Yes,
And you actually met Karen Reed through John, correct?
correct.
After meeting Karen, you spent a good amount of time with both Karen and John, correct?
Correct.
As of January 28th of 2022, you had known Karen for maybe about a year or so,
Sounds correct.
and you'd see them especially on Fridays, correct?
Correct.
That would be sort of the day that you get together with both of them often.
Yes,
And of course, your children spent a lot of time with John and Karen, right?
correct.
You entrusted both Karen and John with your kids.
Yes,
Sometimes your kids would even go on vacation with Karen and John, right?
they did go to the Cape. Yes,
Sometimes you'd see Karen without John at your house or on a ball field.
correct.
And your daughter in particular would sometimes spend time with just Karen without John, correct?
Correct.
Your daughter would sometimes go over to Karen's house in Mansfield when she lived there, correct?
Correct.
And obviously, when your daughter would go to Karen's house in Mansfield, Karen would be the one in charge of caring for her, correct?
Correct.
And you were fine with that because you liked and you trusted Karen, right?
Correct.
And in your view, Karen was very good with kids, right?
Correct.
But you also had the opportunity to see Karen and John together, right?
Yes.
You saw how they interacted with each other over that year period that you knew Karen?
Yes.
You saw how they got along?
Yes.
And you never observed any arguments or bickering, correct?
I mean, they argued and bickered.
You had previously testified that you wouldn't even call it arguing, you just call it banter, right?
Yes. I mean, he would, I mean, no, he would get upset or like over if she bought expensive things for the kids.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we will get to that. That would be the one thing that John would complain about, Karen buying like very nice things for his niece and nephew, right?
Correct.
Or he'd complain if, Karen was taking his niece and other girls to get their nails done, like extravagances like that.
Correct.
And one specific memory you have is when Karen bought his niece a very expensive sweater, right?
Correct.
And you recall John telling you that he wished that she hadn't done that because he considered that to be spoiling the girl, correct?
Yes.
But it was very clear to you from your observations that Karen really, really liked John. I'm sorry, John really, really liked Karen, right?
Sustained.
He certainly never told you or even suggested he was thinking about or planning to break up with Karen, right?
No.
Okay, so with regard to that Friday night, January 28th, sir, the plan was for you and John to go to McCarthy's to
Hello,
because there was
Angela.
a storm coming in, correct? And because of the celebration of the girls getting into Bishop Fen?
Well, yeah, we were going out. It wasn't a continuation of the celebration of the girls. We were going out to have a few beers as guys.
Okay. And when you were leaving the house, John asked you to move your car, right?
Correct.
Where was your car when John asked you to move it that night?
I backed up my car. We were leaving the driveway, and John asked me to stop so he could move his car.
I see. And he wanted you to move your car because of the storm coming in, and he wanted Karen to be able to pull her car into the garage, right?
Correct.
And that was really thoughtful of him, wasn't it?
Yes, extremely.
And it showed you that he was being chivalrous toward Karen that night, right?
Yes.
He didn't want Karen to be out in the heavy snow later when she returned to his house during the expected blizzard, right?
Sustained.
You took from that there was an expectation that Karen would be coming back to his house, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You had no inkling that day that anything was wrong between Karen and John, correct?
No.
Everything seemed fine between the two of them, right?
Yes, he did mention though that night that he didn't understand why Karen had a plumber go to the house.
Because he had somebody that could have done that work instead of paying for the plumber, right?
Well, yes.
Okay.
And
but in any case, the plan was for Karen to meet up with the two of you, right?
yes.
And she did show up to McCarthy's at about 8:30 p.m. or so.
Yes, I guess if that's the time.
And you saw an affection.
I'm sorry, what was the answer that you
If
said?
that was the time, I'm not sure about the timeline.
Okay. It was sometime after
Yes.
you'd gotten there. Right.
Correct.
But you do remember when Karen arrived, there was an affectionate greeting between John and Karen, right?
Yes.
You saw them kiss, right?
Yes.
You saw John put his arm around Karen,
Correct.
and you saw that Karen sort of nestled into his embrace.
Correct.
And when she did that, that's when he kissed her, correct?
Yes,
And they seemed happy to see each other, did they not?
they did.
That night they were affectionate,
Yes.
laughing,
Yes.
happy,
Yes.
like a normal couple.
Yes.
No arguments.
No.
You witnessed no bickering, no tension, correct?
No.
And during the month before John's passing, that January of 2022, you observed their relationship in your presence to be normal, caring, and affectionate, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
You were asked a number of questions about the relationship between John and Karen that night. Do you know what was going on behind closed doors other than what you saw?
I'll allow it.
No,
Do you know whether or not they texted each other that day?
no, that day, no.
Do you know whether or not there was any arguments that day?
I'll allow it.
Not to my, no, I don't know if they were, well, I don't know if they were arguing over the plumber situation. I
Do you
don't
know
know.
if there's any vulgarities that day?
No,
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that night?
no, not to my knowledge.
Do you know whether or not John was trying to end the relationship with Miss Reed?
Do you know that, sir?
No,
Next question.
Do you know if there was any jealousy in that relationship?
I'll allow it.
I mean, I mean, Karen wouldn't let, I mean, they did everything together, a lot of things together. And I thought at times, yeah, you could see, she didn't want other women around John. I don't know, not at that, but
Thank you.
You follow it? All right, Mr. Cameron, you're all set, sir.
Kelly girl, thank you so much. Guys, I want to give you my heartfelt sympathies. I'm still coming out of my grief. I understand, girl. But thank you for taking the time to pop in. We are here for you. Just let us know if you need anything. We are family. I'm brewing my hot water for my soup. I'm really struggling this morning to be awake.
I'll see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
Now I wonder what they're going to do. I appreciate they're starting to move through some of these people. We don't need to make a day out of witnesses that don't need a day. So they're moving along pretty well, which is a good thing.
Oh my God!
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to push it, but it woke me up. Wake up, everybody. Good morning. Got my hot water. Got my tomato broth. Let that steep. Oh. Went to the doctor yesterday and they said I need to eat more protein. I need to eat more and all protein. I'm like, oh. We appreciate it, Callie girl. Why are you a bit nervous? Mary and Facebook. Why? You worried that she's going to get found guilty? You notice the mother is not in court today. Where is mom? Mom is not in court. That's unusual. Mama doesn't miss a day of court. I'd be the same way. Yes, hon. I could. I just ran it through the coffee machine. You're an angel, though. Stay off. Go get off your knee a little bit. My honey bun has a bum knee. Y'all, he was at the grocery store, and a woman with one of the electric carts, an older woman, ran into his knee, knocking it, and now he's got to wear a brace till we get an MRI. She screwed up his knee. And not so much as I'm sorry. Are you okay? Just banged right in his knee. Hello, David. Thank you so much. Today is one of those days that I just want to crawl in bed and be in bed. I want to thank everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and X for joining us today. This is day 3 in the Karen Reed trial. We are on witness 3 for the day. We originally had Nicholas Guerrero on the stand. He finished up. Then we had Jean Millis, a records of fact, or keeper of the records for the McCarthy Bar and Grill. And we had Michael Camarano, who his daughter and the niece of John O'Keefe were good friends. So, yeah, I call it Granny Cart Rage, but yeah. Oh, we had Ceiling Dion just a minute ago. That's the Ceiling Fan's new name, Ceiling Dion.
May I?
Please.
All right, here we go.
Recall Nick Garino.
Okay.
Nick Garino. He's 4, comma, and they're going to keep calling him 7, comma. Yeah, they're going to keep calling Nick Garino. I ought to just keep a badge up. I'm going to do that. He has to sit outside the door and wait to be called. He's Massachusetts State Police and everything.
I'll remind you, you're still in your.
Or stand, however you're most comfortable today. Just do whatever you need to do.
Or stand? Why does she say that? I
Morning,
don't
everyone.
understand.
Sir, yesterday we talked about downloading phones and making what you called extractions.
He's going to come up
From
on
that
every
data,
phone
you can
data.
create different types of
Everyone had
Sir,
a phone.
have Detective Garino say his name again, please.
I'm sorry. Again, for the record, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Nicholas Guarino, Guarino.
Thank you.
Sir, you mentioned yesterday that you downloaded a number of phones, or you were involved in the process of downloading a number of phones.
That's correct.
You explained to us that after you have the data analyzed, you can pinpoint certain items that you may want to put in a document.
Yeah, so the extractions into a program of our choosing, Cellbrite is the most commonly used, and then we can take call logs or text messages, any information that the investigator is looking for.
When you downloaded Mr. O'Keefe's
Okay,
phone
thank you.
and you downloaded the defendant's phone, did you try to create, or did you create a report through Cellbrite?
Thought so,
the
but I've not.
software,
It's still
that
unusual.
would show you all of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs?
Yes, I did.
And when I use the term call logs, what does that mean?
The call logs are the calls that the phone receives.
How do you create a report from Cellbrite? Can you just walk us through that process briefly?
Yep. So in the program, you can go in and select the calls from it and export it into different formats, PDF, XML, HTML, or you can create a portable case and extract them all as a portable case that we would see on my computer.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
showing you a document of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is the call logs. Just want to make sure it's between John O'Keefe and the defendant from, just want to see the dates, the 28th, January 28th, 2022 to January 29th, 2022.
Would this contain all the phone calls from his phone data, the calls between those two parties that night?
Yes, that's what I created.
I'd like to move this as an exhibit, please.
Don't you hate it when you take a capsule and it feels like it's stuck? I hope Mama's okay.
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 You captured all of the phone calls between two parties on that last document. Can you also do that with chats?
Yes, that is true.
No, baby. Nice try.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Drinking something warm will move it along.
Did you create a document of chats between the phones of the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe for after midnight for the evening hours of January 29, 2002?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
They're going to start bringing in all the cuss words and all those nasty chats soon. The raging chats. Or text.
You recognize that document, sir?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us what that is?
These are the texts from the defendant to John O'Keefe.
We're going to get a lot of cuss words in here, y'all. I'm not even going to try and stop it.
January 29, 2022?
Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry.
I move this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Did you identify or specify chat messages between John O'Keefe and
No, just
person
major,
named Jen McCabe?
Yes, I did.
Miss June, just major points. Like if there's something she says that you think is important to talk about or can affect her case, you don't have to do any of the detailed, just major.
Did you create a Cellbrite report?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
It very well may have taken a toll on the mother.
Can we have just a brief moment, please?
It's sidebar?
No.
Just the two of them?
Compare that what we have.
Yes, go ahead.
Mod management, go to all mods in the management team, go to Discord mod management folder, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Sir, I'm handing you a document. Do you recognize it?
Yes. This is This is the text messages between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe on 29th to
Yeah, that one we might want more information on,
January
Jim.
29th, 2022.
And this is through a search and subreddit, you match their data, pull up all of their conversations.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
I move to introduce this, please, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Similarly to the chats, did you do the same with calls between Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. McCabe?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you a document, sir. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the call log between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe for, just want to make sure I have all the dates correct, just for January 29th, 2022.
To evidence, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
The 26th.
Did you do a file extraction and a report on all chats between the phones of John O'Keefe and the defendant for a period of time?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Getting you a document. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant from January 28th to January 29th, 2022.
Your Honor, move this into evidence.
Okay. Mr. Alessi?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right.
Did you have an opportunity to make a report from some of the data from the defendant's phone from January 29, 2022?
What are you referring? I did make some reports from the defendant's phone.
What's a call log report?
Again, the call log report is the calls that the party makes to another phone. So it's going to show everyone they've called or attempted to call.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes,
And could you tell the jury what it is?
it's the call log from the defendant's phone for January 29th, 2022. It looks like everyone she called.
Introduce this as an exhibit, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
What we just introduced into evidence is the entire call log of calls to anybody and everybody to and from for that period of time.
Yes,
That's fair to say?
yes, that's correct.
And then can you further isolate calls between just two parties?
Yes, you can. You can search by phone number or name.
And did you do that with the defendant's records for some parties?
Yes, I did.
Did you isolate phone calls between the defendant and Ms. McCabe for the evening of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Guys, take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's the phone calls from the defendant and Jennifer McCabe, January 29, 2022.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Did you isolate calls between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 22?
Yes, I did.
Can I see the last exhibit, please? Thank you, sir. I asked you to take a look at that document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Could you share with the jury what it is?
Yep. It's the call logs between the defendant and Carrie Roberts for January 29th, 2022. Yes,
And that's a report you created.
yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. 30.
Did you have an opportunity to isolate and produce a report for all chats between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, K Swan. Appreciate it.
Document, do you recognize
Appreciate it,
that?
K Swan.
Yes.
And could you share with the jury what that is?
This is text messages between the defendant and Carrie Roberts on January 29th, 2022.
I have to get a back office thing done. I'll be right back.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Jurors, this is the way we have to put evidence in cases in Massachusetts, okay?
So do you have an opportunity to identify a text message or a chat between the defendant and a person by the name of Ingrid on the morning of January 29th, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury what that is?
Yes, this is a text conversation between the defendant and looks like a group chat between Ingrid Curtis and Bill Curtis.
Did you make that report?
Yes, this is on January 29, 2022.
Thank you. And move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
32.
If this is a good time, if the honor would permit.
Okay. Jurors, what we're going to do is we will take our morning recess now. And we'll take 20 minutes to half an hour. We'll see you then.
All right, now we're taking a break, and I guess they're going to discuss something during that 10-minute break. I am trying to, like I told you, we've had a very difficult day yesterday. For those of you who are on, I have enough of you now. I need to redo an announcement. It is not something I really like to do, want to do, but must do. Let me see what they're going to do. Okay. I'm going to take this off the screen for just a second. I'm just clearing everything out. Get the banners off. What's ticking? Okay. I have got to get better at my little swoops. How do y'all like that? I wish I had a sound. I'll have to find a fun sound. Okay. For those of you who do not know, yesterday was a very difficult day. We have been friends with Toxic Orchid and As the Gavel Drops since day one of my channel. Unfortunately, yesterday I found out that I had been frauded, and thus so have some of you. We are still supporting As the Gavel Drops. They are under new management. They are still a very trustworthy place to get your court document needs, and we will continue to support that. That said, unfortunately, Toxic Orchid approached me yesterday right after going live and shared things with me that it's not important to share. But what is important to know is I have been a monthly subscriber ever since she started Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. And I did a fundraising thing for them because it was my understanding that the money was needed for documents that are behind a firewall, or we call a document paywall. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and that is not where we believe the money had gone. She has refunded 2 of my months, and I am so sorry to have to share with you that this is what has happened. If you did in any time support the Buy Me a Cup of Coffee or Buy Me a Coffee at As the Gavely, that page is taken down. You may receive a refund. I'm not sure. But you can go to Buy Me a Coffee, go down into support, and request for a refund due to fraud. This breaks my heart. But at the same time, I pray that you Toxic get the help you need. And you may not be happy I'm doing this, but I want my viewers to understand the transparency that I have and the integrity that I want to show as I practice what I preach as best as I can. And I don't want to make a big thing out of this, but I don't have a list anymore as to who all donated. I know some people donated and didn't want to be a part of the drawing. So please understand that Toxic is seeking the help she needs. And I wish you well, Toxic. But at this point in time, I need to ensure that this channel is operating in an honesty and a place of integrity. I normally don't support people in GoFundMe's and fundraisings unless I truly believe that I know them. This had been going on for years. So this is not just you or I. This has hurt a lot of people. So we will pray for you, Toxic. If you pray, send you good thoughts, hoping everything resolves. And at the same time, please continue to support As the Gavel Drops. All the mods over there were innocent in this. There's no reflection on all the hard work that they have done. There are people over there who sole purpose is to find documents, and we will continue to support that. It is still up and running, contrary to what some people have heard. With that, I want to thank you for your understanding and your support. And know in my heart of hearts, I never meant for this to happen. But you do what you can with what you know, and that's where we are. I want to thank all my mods for hanging in there and supporting me. It was a very difficult day yesterday, and this is not what I want to do today. But I will announce this just a few more times to make sure that everybody gets notified. And then we drop it. Okay? So, with that, let's get on to some cute news. I love that kitty. I don't know who gave me that kitty. Somebody gave me that kitty. I don't know where I found that. Oh, this is a perfect Ronnie. Ronnie, I love that. How can I want that. OMG, Ronnie. This is exactly how I feel today. I'm going to show y'all how I feel today. Can I show y'all how I feel today? Let me show you how I feel today. That is so priceless, Ronnie. Love it. There we go. Share. This is how I'm feeling right now. That is so cool. I like it. I likey. I like it. That was good. That was really good. Appreciate that a lot. Appreciate that so very much. I want to say how much I appreciate all of you. Y'all are amazing. I know, Case One, isn't that great? I'm learning to find memes, guys. There's some things I do well, some things I don't do well because I just don't know. And I'm in a constant state of learning, for lack of a better term. And it's awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Ronnie. The screaming hamster. I need to put a sound with that screaming hamster and make it a clip. Mm. Oh, some of y'all asked me yesterday what that broth soup. I don't advertise things very often, but this is Millie's sipping broth. It's comfort food and broth. It's a tomato basil sipping broth. It is phenomenal. And then I have a po, and then there's onion and some other flavors. They are so good. I don't like broth because I like broth, but it gets old quick. And this is fabulous. It's like I'm drinking a tomato soup. Just thin tomato soup. So we have the screaming hamster. That was cute. All right, today, why don't we have fun? All right, let's do the bingos. Anybody have a bingo? While I'm pulling up the bingo cards, because I didn't do that yet, and I should have, and I'm going to do it now. How many of y'all, how many of y'all are close to a bingo? Okay, let me see. Bingo card. I'm going to move these. I've got a lot of windows open, y'all, so forgive me. Okay, on bingo card, I have to delete all the reset. Okay. I'm resetting my bingo cards virtually. Okay, bingo card number 1. Let's share bingo card number 1. Y'all, can you help me with this? Tell me on bingo card what's gone. We have evidence. We have hear ye. We have overruled. I'll allow it, I think. I think we said witness. We had sidebar and we had 2022. I think those are correct. Now I'm going to go on to number 2. Excuse the cough. Karen Reed was drunk. They said that she'd been drinking a lot. Jim McCabe, free space, objection. Sidebar. We had snow. I think I don't know. I have to go back and relook. And number 3. Oh, let's reset. Okay. Carrie Roberts, no, McCarthy's is on there. Where is the ring cameras? You need to tell me what card. You need to tell me what card. Rehome was for the dog. I'm trying to find the correct. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you, June. By the way, everybody, June made these cards for us, and you can participate. And you get a bingo either horizontally or vertically or diagonally. Just say bingo, and what card, and if you get a bingo, let us know. I'll put you in for a drawing for a prize at the end of the trial. Don't you hate it when you take a capsule and it sticks and it's not going away? John's vehicle. Got it. And then over on number 2. I think I hit him and was brought up today for a split second. If not, I'll remove it. They are talking about the state police. He's part of that. Number 3. Didn't mean to do that, y'all. I can get it back up. I can get it back up. No big deal. Okay, number 3. One Meadows Ave. That's right. That was said. They did talk about Section 12 for Karen Reed at the first witness. Wow, y'all, we're doing pretty good. Anybody got close to a bingo? The court is still in session. We are looking at the picture showed. Is it picture or picture showed? Which card, y'all? Oh, I'm on that card. I am so sorry. I forget that I have to everyone I switch. I expect it to switch with me. I expect it to go with me, y'all. That's a problem. We did get the text messages on this card right here. What card is this? I think this is card, I don't know, 2 maybe. Tail light. Okay. But they did talk about the text messages. Waterfall glass in hand. I'm going. The cards don't have the numbers on them, so I apologize. Did we have the siren this morning already? Let me go back. That's what you want, the tail light lens? Oh, that's right. She did talk about that. Nobody talked about high top tables. Rehome hasn't been, shots haven't been blob. Evidence harassment, blizzard. Did they say it was a blizzard? No, they didn't say blizzard. I got it right here. So it looks like we're good. And they are still on a break. Just so you know, today I'm going to close the live down when they take their lunch break. And then I'll come back in with a new live for 2 reasons. 1, I need a break. 2, if the lives go over 6 hours, anything happens in the live, I can't fix it. I can't edit it. Hello, Miss Haley Mouse. I can't edit it. I can't change it. And so My goal is to start trying to take a lunch break. I do need to eat and get rehydrated during that said lunch break. So we all need to do that, not just me. Again, on Facebook, thank you so much for joining. Twitch and X, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate having all of you here. Oh, sure, Haley Mouse. Well, we had Daniel Whitney finish on the stand today. Then we had Officer Nicholas Guerrero come in. He's the cell bite data person. I don't know why I put number 34. I think she was number 3. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Nicholas Guerrero is going to be coming in and out of this trial. He is the Cellbrite data expert. That is what's going to happen there. No, it's not a lunch break yet, but it was just a break. Then we had Jean DeMillis, who is a keeper of records. She's the one for McCarthy Bar and Grill. She's the one that had the originals of the security camera, and they showed some of that. Then we had Michael Camarino. He is a professional witness. Prosecution witness. I think that's where we are. We're waiting for him to be done. And he just talked about the friends and his daughter and how the 2 daughters were good friends and got along. So, yeah. This is a morning break. I don't know what happened. We had a lot happen yesterday. And I had some unusual technical difficulties, which surprised me. The friend of John O'Keefe's, yes, yes. I'm looking, sorry. I'm looking for something to help. Okay. By chance, do you have a stream with CC? Closed captioning. I do. I will switch to that one and make this one my backup. I'm sorry. You were so right. My bad. Forgiveness, please. I am going to use this other stream as our backup stream. This stream starts a little later than the other one did. I guess it's a delay because they're going through the feeding the stream to the courthouse. Okay, Ceiling Dion, the fan's name, and the walls and the ceiling of the building have been painted. Thank you, Jesus. Short break, my butt. You on a long break. That's okay. We're here for it all. Well, he's here for it all. All right. So, wanted to talk a little bit about how I believe testimony is going right now. I believe testimony is going really good considering I don't think the prosecution has had that witness that comes in and says, this is what happened. And everybody goes, aha, we get it. We got the clear picture yet. I think that Karen Roberts was, they were trying to make her that star witness. I don't think she fulfilled that role. I'm not saying what she said wasn't true all the time. We did have some places where I felt she was impeached. Yeah, they are. I think that if I'm on the juror, I'm not going to have her testimony. I'll throw it out. and I throw out that police officer yet. The first police officer on the scene, I wouldn't have his testimony in. The reason why is there's too much inconsistencies. And if they're sitting here telling me that your memory is better today than it was 3 years ago about something that happened, I don't agree with that. The clips are very much annoying, super annoying. This is not a short break. Canoni, put me to sleep. I need to sleep. Put me to sleep, Canoni. All right, y'all, let's do this. Let's do a quick stretch break. So true. Auntie Bev just said, can I see counsel for a moment for scheduling? I think he's getting some good points in there, but I also think he's hurting himself. All right, question. Do you think he's doing better than Lolly? Do y'all think he's doing better? I think he's better at the questioning of witnesses. I think he's got more follow through with the questioning and not just answering a question and letting it drop. When you get something that comes in and there's a question and answer, and then there's a tail to chase on that answer, I think he chases trail better. Y'all, these are your spellbounding treats from Harry Potter. You can get them at Walmart. They're not goldfish. They taste like a butter cookie. Butter better. And that's what it says on the front. Butter. I believe you might be right there, Aaron. And then this has a hint of butterscotch. I mean, a minuscule hint. It is so good, and they are so addicting. It reminds me of the old butter cookies I used to eat at my grandma's. Oh my God, they were so good. I don't disagree. Oh, yeah. I wonder if Lolly's going to do anything in this trial. I mean, you know what I mean. Of course, the O'Keefe family is partial. The family is there. The brother is there every day, sitting in the same place. But have you guys noticed he's not staring at the jury? And he's not staring at Karen Reed? I wonder if they gave a stipulation. What do you think? Lolly's a pencil sharpener. Yeah. I have no idea what Swedish fish is, babe. Clicked on the wrong button. Yeah, scroll down. I got some comments.
the jury, please?
They're on the way around.
Okay, thank you.
We had a good day. It was a good day.
May bring the jury.
What is Swedish fish?
All right, so the court, please, your attention.
Good point. Wow.
Court's back in session, you may be seated.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Just a few more items I'd like you to recognize. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you an envelope. Do you know what's in that envelope?
Yes, the raw data extraction of John O'Keefe's cell phone.
Your Honor, the assets to be marked simply for identification, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Folder.
Thank you.
Yes, the raw data extraction of Jen McCabe's cell phone that I created.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, the assets to be marked for identification as well.
All right. Thank you.
Trooper, you shared with us that you downloaded the extraction of the phones that you identified and you made reports based on specific identified features. For example, a conversation between two people.
Yes, so I didn't do the extraction of Jen's phone, but I made those reports with the PDFs from the data extraction.
Relative to Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant's phones, you created a document that provided us the phone calls between them on January 29th.
Yes, that's correct.
And separately, you also provided a document that included all of the chats or text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 29th, 2022.
Yes, I'd also included the 28th.
Thank you.
Yes.
And in that compilation, did you put together or do you create or review a PowerPoint of those?
Yes, I did.
And what was the point of that?
Just to show the texts and calls in a chronological order, because that way you're not looking at two different documents, trying to compare and contrast the calls to text messages when each is coming in.
And did you begin that PowerPoint presentation with a call at 2:16:10 on January 28, 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
And are there additional chats or text messages earlier that morning?
Yes, there's a handful starting around 9:45 a.m.
May I
Yes.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a folder, sir. Could you take a look at it? Let us know if you recognize what's in it.
Yes. So this is the bulk of this is the PowerPoint calls and text messages, and then at the beginning, there's the messages from before 2:16 in the morning.
I'd like to introduce this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Great, thank you.
With court permission, I'd ask the witness to read the text messages from the morning hours, and then we begin the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have a hard copy of those for me?
It was provided. I'll see if we have another copy if you don't have it.
All right, I have, it's in here, the pre-morning hours. The ones that we discussed at sidebar. If you don't have them,
The defense has a copy for you, Your Honor.
thank you.
Madam? I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Little.
Okay, thank you.
May we begin, Your Honor?
Please.
Could you first read the text messages from that morning to the jury?
Yes. Apologize if I misspelled things or state things. Start time, all right. It's a little different than the format I had before. All right, this is from Karen Reed to John O'Keefe. You have really hurt me this time. This was sent at 9:49, 20 seconds a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I'm sorry, this has been an issue with me for 8 years. It physically hurts me to see everyone else in their life do things for them, and I'm forced to always be the bad guy. This is sent at 10:02, 56 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm not the same as everyone else. Most of the time I try to do what is healthy/smart for them. More importantly, I try to support you in what you need. You just lashed out at me and said terrible things. I don't know how you've gotten to this point with me when I'm just trying my hardest. You made your point and continue to beat me down. I have a lot going on too. Physically, I am falling apart and trying to get answers and help. 10:09, 49 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I am just your girlfriend. I am not a perfect parent. I'm trying very hard and sometimes treat them - nothing like I used to. 10:10, 46 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I know, I'm sorry for lashing out. I'm just hurting and struggle daily with them. Always feel like I'm failing at this parenting thing. I wasn't built for this. 10:14, 12 a.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. Kaylee isn't perfect, but everything wonderful about her is because of you. 12:21, 36 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji is sent at 12:21:59 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, it's true, I know she's her mother's daughter, but she wouldn't be so bright and successful if she lived with anyone else. 12:22:51 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, wow, Kristen just sent 2 back-to-back messages to not lose your faith in the kids. 12:31:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or in yourself, at 12:31:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, there's 2 emojis sent at 12:32:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, and there's 2 emojis. Life can pick you up sometimes. Please be happy with them and put away your frustrations for the rest of the day. And be so proud of yourself, JJ. That's 12:33:35 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, that's what bothers me more than anything. Should have sent Peg's or Sarah's W-2s. We are all equal guardians. 1:18:21 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe you can call someone. 1:21:55 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like who? 1:46:42 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what time are you coming here? 1:47:38 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's another emoji sent, 2:05:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know what time, feel kind of out of it, just trying to clear my head, 2:06:07 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he writes, okay, 2:06:25 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, text me when you guys settle in later, 2:06:44 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, sure, 2:06:58 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to, oh, no, it's cut off here, sir.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That must be where the, so,
Would it be helpful if I take it out of the binder for you?
I believe it, yeah, it goes to the next one, so I'll start. Yeah, sorry.
With the court's permission, we'll begin the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Should I
At your
do it
leisure.
first? Okay. The phone calls, text messages, and then we'll start with the first slide. So it's from the defendant to John O'Keefe. I feel pretty shitty about how this morning went down. I know you said sorry, but it really stung, especially when I've been trying pretty hard lately. I feel like a loser turning around, just coming back over after everything you said. 2:16:10 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not sure what you want me to do. I said I'm sorry and I was out of line. If you prefer to stay home, I totally get it. 2:17:16 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, things in my own life have been difficult too, 33 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I know, 2:17:40 PM on the 28th. At 2:17:45 PM, the defendant calls John. The phone call is answered and they speak for 2 minutes, 22 seconds. 2:23:02 PM, the defendant.
I wish they could do this on all the chats. See the black background with the white contrast? That's the easiest for me to read.
And it calls John. That's again answered at 10, and they speak for 1 minute, 2 seconds. At 2:24:17 PM, the defendant calls John and the call is rejected.
Y'all, I have the captioning on, but for some reason it's not playing. See, it's a red button there. Don't know why.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, tell me if you're interested in someone else. Can't think of any other reason you've been like this. 2:25:18 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, nope. 2:25:33 PM on the 28th.
Aw.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, things haven't been great between us for a while. Ever consider that? 2:26:03 PM on the 28th. At 2:28:40 PM, the defendant calls John. That call is rejected.
Mr. Greeno, can you explain to us the difference between not answered and rejected?
Yes, so if the call is not answered, that means the call rang out and goes to voicemail. If the call is rejected, that is someone actively hitting the send to voicemail button to disable the call to stop it from ringing. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, kids are here, not in the mood to talk. 2:29:03 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into it anymore. That's fine, but I don't want to keep trying and you keep treating me like this. 2:29:12 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm trying to hug and kiss you this morning and you whack me in the face with a pillow. 2:29:59 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, last night you're basically like, yeah, what about when we talk about the future? So why don't you just admit you're not into so much anymore?
This is much harder for me.
2:30:23 PM.
This blue background and the white and, I am all special kind of dyslexic. I have multiple forms of it. You can have directional numbers and all that. And I'm so dyslexic that I don't take notes when I'm in a class in college, a live class. I have a note taker. And these two colors together, it just looks like to me a white little squiggly lines on blue. I cannot decipher anything on that whatsoever. Give me the black background with the white. That's how my computer's set up. I do pretty good.
On the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not how it went down, but okay. 2:30:26 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please admit your head is out of the game with us? 2:30:52 PM on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, sick of always arguing and fighting. It's been weekly for several months now. So yeah, I'm not as quick to jump back into being lovey-dovey as you apparently. 2:32:28 PM on the 28th. At 2:32:47 PM, the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant, OMG, stop calling, 2:32:54 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then why would you start with me this morning? 2:32:58 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you're setting me up to fail, 2:33:05 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you started a number of fights from your end, 2:33:26 PM on the 28th. And John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've explained it a few times already, not doing it again, 2:33:31 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into this anymore, 2:33:41 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant.
Good one,
not
Dawn.
into
I'll have
fighting
to
all the
try
time,
that.
correct. 2:34:03 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John
The green
O'Keefe.
doesn't work for
if
me.
you're excuse me. If you tell me you're interested in someone else, you will never hear from me again. You can have all the space in the world. 2:34:11 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, who sends an
No!
emoji, 2:34:19 PM on the 28th.
That ought to be good.
From
That
the
will-
defendant to John O'Keefe, then stop.
By the way, guys, my cat has never done this. I guess she's missing my service dog because I am too. Don't you bite me. She's got her paw wrapped around my foot and she laid down and's got her head on my toes and is sleeping. And okay. And if I move the slightest bit, she nips me because she don't want me to move.
Starting with me, 2:34:20 PM on the 28th.
Wow.
2:34:29 PM, the defendant calls John. He rejects the call. John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant. I'm not answering. Stop calling. 2:34:42 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer after how you treated me earlier? 2:34:43 PM on the 28th. 2:34:54 PM, the defendant calls John. That's rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Kaylee is right here. 2:35:02 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. You start a rager with me out of nowhere and then tell me you're sick of fighting with me. 2:35:41 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm going to grab a drink in a bit. 2:38:14 PM on the 28th. 2:38:42 PM, the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. The defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer? 2:38:52 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, no, Karen, not sure why you need to announce that you're going, not sure why you need to announce that you're grabbing a drink, but have fun. 2:39:46 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, seeing if you want to meet me later. 2:40:22 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please call me? 2:40:32 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, have to take them to the doctor. He has practice. 2:40:55 PM on the 28th.
They do. Okay.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe.
Guys, I don't know why he's putting so much in these text messages. I'm not, back when I was in a relationship that I would blow up, when I got so over exasperated by my ex, I didn't have a text. This was back like late 80s, early 90s. We had pagers that the first texts were little things that we could type in a pager. And if you don't know what a pager is, Google it. But these texts are typical texts. There's nothing in it that makes me go, whoa. So for now, I'm like, you're wasting your breath, dude. I don't see anything. I don't care if people scream in text and call each other names. I do care that happens. But to me, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. No, it's not unusual. These are normal.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 2:41:17 PM on the 28th.
That's a good one.
At 2:43:01 PM, the defendant calls John. It's not answered. At 2:45 PM, the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant.
I agree,
My
Haley
father
Mouse.
just walked in. 2:43:58 PM, the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe.
Yes. And in every relationship, you're going to experience one or both getting jealous of somebody at some point. In every relationship, you're going to have a fight. In every relationship, you're going to have making up. I don't understand
Keefe, okay, can you
the point in the weightness of these. Okay.
please call me for 2 minutes? 2:44:14 PM on the 28th.
Now, I agree. If my husband is in a business meeting and can't talk to me, or at work and can't talk to me for whatever, but that passive aggressive not talking, that don't fly with this chick. You can, if you are struggling to talk, just say, I need a minute. I need to process. I'm not wanting to ignore you, but I'll talk to you in a minute. Acknowledge it. Don't just let it lay there. That's
John
called
O'Keefe, the defendant, not right now.
RESPCT.
2:44:23 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm there when anyone else needs me. 2:44:26 PM on the 28th. At 2:45:32 PM, the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. The defendant calls Mr. O'Keefe. Yes, John, you gave me utter grief this morning. I'd like you to call me for amends. 2:46:16 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I've been trying to get over the hump with is arguing, and now you tell me you're not into doing things, and you don't want to fight weekly, but fly off the handle at 8 AM with me, like you're setting me up to fail. 2:47:08 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I've been dealing with my own personal crisis over things I have zero control over. I'd like to lean on you too sometimes. Instead, I just hear everything I've done wrong. 2:48:34 PM on the 28th. At 2:56 PM, the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. At 2:51:13 PM, the defendant calls John. It's rejected. 2:52:37 PM, John calls the defendant. It's not answered. At 2:53:56, the defendant calls John. Again, not answered. The defendant, John O'Keefe, you seriously cannot pick up the phone for 2 seconds. 2:54:13 PM. 2:58:05 PM, the defendant calls John. It's rejected. At 2:59:13, John calls the defendant. The call is answered and they speak for 4 minutes, 59 seconds. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, why don't you meet me at Hillside at 4:30/5, 3:08:55 PM. John O'Keefe to the defendant sends an emoji at 3:10:08 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or whenever you get, or whenever you get everyone settled, 3:10:35 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like I said, doctor now, and he has practice till 6. If you want me to go start,
Hello.
if you want to go start drinking, then go
cat.
for it. 3:36:21 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I didn't know the times of his practice. 3:36:40 PM on the 28th. And the defendant to John O'Keefe, I just want to give you space at the house without me there. So rather meet you out than meet at the house. 3:37:01 PM on the 28th.
Possibly.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, yeah, well, now there's a 72-year-old taking up shop on my couch.
Okay. She's can be a very insecure person in a lot of areas.
3:37:36
But this doesn't mean she unalived him.
PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, that too. 3:37:46 PM, 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is he going to Collins? 3:38:23 PM on the
Yes,
28th.
Ronnie, these are texts.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, not tonight. 3:38:32 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so do you plan on going out tonight? 3:39:01 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, I don't know, 3:39:17 PM on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you're like jonesing to drink, so go, 3:39:43 PM on the 28th.
I'm about ready to start
From the
drinking on
defendant
this
to John
thing.
O'Keefe,
Kidding.
okay, well, after how this morning went down, I don't think I need to be back over there with you. Get frustrated at how I am with the kids. Has nothing to do with drinking. 3:40 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe,
Y'all, blended families, especially when, and this is considered a blending, especially considering the fact that she herself has never been a mom. She's never given birth or raised children. And they have a disagreeing on the way that children should be raised at this point. That's how I see this. And I think it's frustrating for John because he's an instant parent of children that are older, I think they were like 5 and 8 or something like that, old enough that they know something's going on. It's not like they had an infant and they've grown and matured with that child. And it's why adoption of older kids are so difficult. And then complexities are there. And then when you add a relationship and a woman who admittedly says, don't want to be a mother. I'm not mother material, but I was doing the best I can and I was willing to continue doing that for John. She liked those kids. She loved them. They grew on her. But I understand how there's going to be a conflict in how they raise them.
O'Keefe, I am paranoid now that everything I do with them is problematic. So rather see you for a minute without it, kids around. 3:40:24 PM on the 28th.
They do have a voicemail where she cussed at him and went off. In one of her interviews she gave to the public, she addresses that.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what's your plan at 4:47:16 PM on the 28th? From the defendant to John O'Keefe, don't have one, 4:50:09 PM on the 28th.
That is true. She was getting fussed at for getting nails and donuts and spoiling the kids. And that makes John look bad. Trust me. It is not an easy place to be. After I lost my husband to prison, every holiday or when the grandparents came in, my kids would get spoiled and get all these big gifts and things, which I'm happy they were able to provide. But on the other hand, I had no money to compete with that. And if you look at it, she financially was far better off than John O'Keefe. He was a police officer. So her income, if they were to have gotten married, would have been the dominant income in the family. And I can see where he doesn't want her being extravagant with the kids because he can't be. He's more limited, and that makes him the bad guy. My hypothesis on that part of the story.
For John O'Keefe to the defendant, so still home, 4:50:26 PM on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 4:45 PM on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you just got
100%.
home, waiting to see what Papa decides here, or else I have to get Patrick at 6.
100%.
4:59:45 PM on the 28th. The defendant, John O'Keefe, okay, 5:01:55 PM on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so are you staying home or coming here? 5:02:23 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, waiting to see what you end up doing. I don't want to hang out at the house too much, like I said. 5:03:40 PM on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think it's
I would agree to that too, Haley Mouse. By what I said was a very minuscule part of the picture. I'm just saying sometimes that can cause a little bit of underlying conflict on top of what's already going on. I think you're right. I think he was trying to lay boundaries and she was not staying within those boundaries and rules and limits and she wasn't backing him up. But that doesn't mean that she unalived him. I mean, people struggle with all kinds of marriages and relationships with kids struggle even in a good marriage. One parent may agree that spanking a child with an open hand a little couple of swats on the backside is okay, and another parent may not. But this does not seem to me be any reason to unalive him. And as far as what you said, uh, Thomcat, if I'm saying it right, a Thomcat, alcohol seems to be like a factor for both of them. Now, they're not drunkards, but they did like to go drinking and have fun and get a little drunk with their friends. And she even said she confessed alcohol and being around the wrong people are the two things I think that hurt her and John O'Keefe the most. And children know when they can who they can work to get their way too. That's right. Those children could have been manipulating
Clear
her.
me
And
around the kids.
she allowed it.
Excuse me. I think it's clear me around with the kids around is slowly killing our relationship. And our relationship is much more important to me. 5:04:16 p.m. on the 28th.
She doesn't want to be a mother.
John O'Keefe to the defendant. Well, there's a blizzard coming, so we'll be inside all weekend. 5:04:19 p.m. on the 28th.
Those
The
kids,
defendant to John O'Keefe. It will be over by noon tomorrow. 5:04:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Don't think so. 5:05:27 p.m. on the 28th.
y'all could be right, but I know,
Defendant to John O'Keefe.
okay, I know she said in interviews, I did not want to have children. I'm not mother material. That is not my jam. I love my career. And then to be dating a guy who is raising two children that are not his kids, I get it. Don't mean I agree with her, but I understand her point of view.
I don't want to keep having this constant conflict of the dynamic of the four of us. The harder I try, the more it kills our relationship as a couple. It feels like utter shit to be in that position. Rather just meet you out for drinks when you figure out what your night looks like. 5:06:45 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Well, I have no idea what's going on, so do what you want. 5:07:34 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Need to figure out what everyone is doing. Everyone here is doing. All I know now is Madeline is coming over. No clue about Patrick yet, or if Papa is planning on hanging it for a few more hours. 5:09:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. Okay, well, when you know the story and if you want me to come up, let me know. 5:12:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. No, Karen, you decide what you want to do. 5:13:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I know your heart isn't in this anymore. I felt it for a while and especially lately. I'm willing to try more, but not if you
Yes,
not if you
Elena.
approaching the
Good
point
one.
of indifference.
Yes.
If you want me to come up and you can head out for a while, then say so when you know what your father is doing. 5:14:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. You come up and I head out. Really? Emoji. 5:15:48. John O'Keefe to the defendant. I've told you already, I don't bounce back as quickly as you do after we have a battle. 5:16:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, head out together with an emoji. 5:17:49 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or meet out. 5:17:54 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Gonna send Patrick to Collins tonight. They're picking him up around 7. Mike may hang out too when he brings Matt over. So why don't you just come over? 5:19:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. Mike doesn't want to go out for a bit. 5:20:20 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I would like to. Been a shit day from the jump. 5:20:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, probably 5:20:39 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I just got sober an hour ago. 5:20:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll text you hang with Mike for a few. I don't need to butt in. Text me if/when you think you may head out. 5:25, 12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you send me Tim Zoll's contact info, please? 5:26, 38 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I paid the last bill. 5:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you didn't have to do that, thanks. 5:27:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, are you really not going to accept my friend request? 5:32:33 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji on what, FB? 5:33:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, we've been going out for 2 years. 5:33:20 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I haven't gone on. You defriended me over a year ago, I believe. 5:33:48 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Carrie texted that they're headed out in a bit. 6:05:29 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, okay. 6:14:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, she's going to let me know where. 6:17:51 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going to meet them. 6:18:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just presenting it as an option. Wouldn't mind hanging out with them for a drink. 6:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is Mike over? 6:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes. 6:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, sounds you're like good with getting together tonight. 6:31:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, was hoping after this morning you'd be interested in smoothing things over with me. 6:32:24 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, told you to come over, but you insisted on meeting me out somewhere. 6:33:44 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike is a little off with me for a while now. I've said that multiple times. 6:34:34 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant, time to get over it, Karen. He's fine. He was fine the other night when he came by. 6:38:09 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, wouldn't mind hanging out with other people, like another female too. 6:39:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, where are you meeting them? 6:39:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't have plans with them. She just said they're headed out in a bit and will text when they land somewhere. 6:39:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you want to go out with Mike solo, that's fine. Just let me know. 6:40:17 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I already told you what you should do. Not going to keep doing this. 6:41:07 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I asked to let me know if you guys are going to head out. I haven't been out for drinks this week and had a shit week and a shit day. And I dread Kaylee or Pat is going to get chatty with me the second I walk in, and that is going to irritate you. 6:43:21 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Pat is leaving. Kay is with Mad Cam. 6:44:02 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll text Chris then. 6:46:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed out shortly. What's your plan, Karen? 7:06:13 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, do you want me to join or no? 7:06:37 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes, wasn't sure if you were meeting the Currans. 7:07:04 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, they are not out drinking yet. 7:07:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, where are you headed? 7:09:22 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, trying to decide maybe McCarthy's. 7:14:48 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay then, let me know where you decide. I'm still down in Enfield. 7:21:50 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, text me when you leave. Still waiting on McKinney's. 7:22:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm having issues with my hot water, so had to text someone to take a look. 7:24:11 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, you trying to piss me off. 7:25:35 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, hope your plumber buddy that you texted is hot. 7:26:24 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, nope, my shower only got lukewarm and now my sink won't run hot at all. The plumber I used is right down the road. 7:26:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I turned that temp thing in the basement all the way up. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, check the hot water heater and see if it's leaking. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it's not. 7:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't do that. 7:27:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, is the pilot lit? 7:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I was trying to get my shower hot. 7:27:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 7:27:14 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't turn it up. Don't turn it all the way up. 7:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, it will burn out. 7:27:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I had this issue twice before and it wasn't a disaster. I just can't remember what the cause was. 7:27:41 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, just turn it back to where it was and get over here. 7:28:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to come home in a blizzard and then really be up shit creek. 7:28:53 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going home tonight? 7:29:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or tomorrow or whenever. I've had a chill all day since my shower. 7:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe
Sorry
to the
about that, guys. My son is home sick today. He's really struggling, so I'm getting the customers for him today. So I have to pop out every once in a while. Now I'm trying to get my hearing aids to connect. So, yay, there they are. But thank you guys for your patience.
defendant, it's going to snow all day tomorrow. No driving. 7:30:05 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed to McCarthy's. 7:41:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, let me know if you end up leaving. 7:41:57 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, why? Now you're not coming. 7:42:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm waiting for the plumber. I actually think he's in the driveway. 7:42:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're taking Mike's car, so I'm relying on you for a ride home if he leaves. 7:43:10 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not going home after. 7:43:27 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, 8 o'clock on a Friday, emoji, 7:43:31 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, he may have to get Michael, 7:43:46 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you have a plumber coming over at 8, knowing me and Papa could have handled it. Good luck. 7:44:36 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I have always told you I will not put either of you out of your way the way everyone else in your life does. I knew it wasn't working right when you were at the doctor's with Kaylee, and I knew neither of you could get here. And this guy, Richie, fixed it last time, whatever it was. He was supposed to be here at 5, 7:48:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if it's not a quick fix, I'll tell him to forget it. 7:48:20 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, if you need a new water heater, don't let him do it. 7:55:04 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant text is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. He's here now. If it's not quick, I'm not doing it. I just want to make sure nothing is wrong / will go wrong with when I'm not home. 7:55:44 on the 28th.
True, guys. All those comments
From the
were
defendant to
true.
John O'Keefe, he's not a scammer. Half the quick stuff he doesn't even charge me for. 7:56:06 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, he just put the toilet seats on crooked. 7:56:28 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, status 8:09:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, still here with an emoji, 8:09:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, said he's got to go to HD and probably be back mañana, 8:23:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so 8:24:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, an emoji, 8:25:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just trying to figure out if I need to be here, 8:25:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what does it need, 8:26:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know. He showed me some pieces that was all rusted, with an emoji. I don't understand half this stuff, 8:26:42 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, on the water heater, 8:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 8:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Tell him to leave it. I'll take care of it Sunday or Monday, 8:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant, John O'Keefe, no, it's okay. I can either meet him here or just shut off the alarm, 8:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant, John O'Keefe, he used to work here while I was at work, 8:02 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, does he realize it will be whiteout conditions tomorrow a.m., 8:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, but he lives right down the road, 8:47 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, this storm is going to be intense, can't drive, 8:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, if he can't, he can't, 8:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll do it Monday, 8:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I better not still have this problem on Monday, 8:22 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you plan on being there, 8:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'd to know I can take a hot shower there here if I need to, 8:14 p.m. on the 28th. Figured you'd be, from John O'Keefe to the defendant, figured you'd be in Canton until Monday, 8:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'm getting off my phone. Let me know what you're doing, 8:54 p.m. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think the four of us together is toxic to this relationship. Would like to limit it, 8:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you said so yourself for probably a year now, 8:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, blizzard tomorrow, nobody is going anywhere, 8:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe I'll come back late tonight. Bad snow is in the early a.m., 8:14 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll head up there in a few min. Let me know if you leave, 8:26 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, he says, sure, 8:34 p.m. on the 28th. And that was the last of them.
Ooh, lunch break.
We're almost done, sir.
And you can feel free to stand.
Okay, thank you, Honor.
And he's back.
So that presentation is a compilation of text messages and phone calls between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 28, 2022.
Yes, that was.
Aside from that compilation, are there other text messages and phone calls that you've reviewed between John O'Keefe and the defendant that evening, January 28, 2002, going into past midnight, January 29, 2022?
Yes, there's more text messages.
And those text messages and phone calls, are they a separate compilation from this?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, this time I'd ask us to release Trooper Garino and recall him at a later date.
Yes. All right. There's no objection, Mr. Alessi, correct?
No objection, subject to eventual.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Trooper. We'll see you another time.
Thank you, Honor.
You just leave it.
I got next.
Is this the time for me to see counsel at sidebar? Okay.
Sure, may I?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to introduce exhibits or clips 7 through 11.
Thank you.
I just want to say hello to all
court
my
permission,
viewers,
could I begin
Facebook,
with
Twitch,
Clip
Twitter,
7.
X, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Not this
When you
again.
walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I had had
drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
Okay, my hearing aids blacked out. I cracked out. Let me roll that. I don't know why we don't have captioning.
I had probably about 4, and not 4 that I completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the waterfall.
And 4 drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
Clip 8, please.
Wonder if she changed her story. This is gonna hurt her.
Intoxication pretty high here for everybody.
It's happy.
Yeah.
It's,
You'd had a lot to drink, right?
I wouldn't say, I had like a normal amount. Let's say, like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes.
Okay. And so are you feeling like buzzed? And I'm not judging, I'm just trying to get a
Yeah,
sense.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
Yeah, this is her. She's changing her consistency. Her numbers are changing, I think.
The final count of my alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they were pouring me at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like old soda water with lime. Not that I need it to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic and then I would pour a shot into it. So that would come as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour. So I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. So I had maybe 2 or 3 that are being counted as 4 and 6. And I don't know. I felt fine. I felt like I was buzzed. And then there was one drink, the last one that was given to me, which I would have counted as 3, but they're counting as my 6th cocktail. The guys that we were with brought around shots, and they gave me one that I didn't drink, but I poured it in my drink. So that's now my 5th and 6th drinks, with the 7th, which is a shot that all the men did, and I poured it. So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go into the waterfall with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots. And which is why John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of vodka. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into waterfall and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots, depending on how you count it. And the last 2 drinks I didn't touch.
Clip 10, please.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking. I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? Did I incapacitate him? I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16. And I know when John got out of the car to go into Fairview, I know my car was blasting because when I got in it the next morning to go look for him, I had to immediately turn it down. And I don't know, it's stormy. I have had a few cocktails. I didn't black out, but I wasn't as lucid as I would have been if I had gone to bed at 9 and drank a tea. But so I was fuzzier than I would have been if I had no alcohol.
Clip 11, please.
How did you feel after that many drinks? When you got in the car, did you feel like you could drive? And did you feel how
expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:15 on January 29th. I mean, it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see it on the videos. And I was going, when I've had a few drinks and I drive, I always drive extra slow. So I know my alerts aren't as sharp as they should be. But I shouldn't have been driving. But I don't think I was driving. I know I wasn't driving recklessly. I mean, I've got plenty of video of myself driving all over the place. I put my car in John's garage, which is incredibly narrow, and I had a very oversized SUV. You see me. There's a video of me driving through the intersection when we leave Waterfall to go to Brian Albert's, and I was always taught by my father, even when you have a green light, you always should tap the brake. You don't know who's going to run a red. And I see me doing that multiple times between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. So I know I was driving safely, not as safely or as alert as I would be if I had no alcohol. But I was not driving recklessly by any measure.
Thank you. Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
So interesting. We just, I need to let y'all know in Discord, we are making some changes. Nothing that's going to affect you. We're just going to organize it a little better. That's true. Yeah, me, I can drink that much alcohol like a wine and I'm sleeping. You're not waking me up. Train will go through my room. I won't even know it's there. I'm deaf. That
All
already
right,
hurts, but you
jurors,
know what I mean.
There was some confusion with counsel regarding witnesses. So those are the witnesses for today, so we're done for today. Counsel assures me that won't happen again, but more importantly, we're on track. We're on schedule, not going for the rest of the day, won't interfere with our schedule at all. It looks like it's, I can't tell with all the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on a view. So for that, we're comfortable close. We'll be walking around a little bit. We'll be going by bus, and I'll have more instructions for you tomorrow morning. But please follow those instructions. Do not discuss.
We
this
may
case
have
with
motion
anyone.
hearings
Don't
and
do any
stuff.
independent research or
So hold on, we may not be out of here.
into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Remember, tomorrow's a holiday.
All rise for the court, please. Jurors, close your notebooks and follow me.
Present or watch.
Like I said,
Also want to know.
For testimony.
we're going to have a lot.
Provides the procedures and protocol for the testing of blood serum.
Okay.
So I think he's technically considered an expert, although one of the briefer ones.
All right. Does the defense want an expert to be able to watch that? All right. So I know we've had a lot going on this morning. Do you want to address this tomorrow? When do you want to address whether experts should be present?
If I can address it tomorrow morning, I can consider
All right.
it.
We'll do that. And have you talked about who you all mean? Like, do you all know who you want to have exempt from the sequestration order?
We haven't got to that detail. I'm sure they have in mind who they want. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
All
I
right.
can have that discussion and so that we can present it tomorrow what my position is and address the court on the witnesses.
Sure, we can do that. And then I know you said that you've got an agreement that you'll provide witnesses or a list of witnesses in advance to defense counsel, and I'm sure you'll provide witnesses in advance to Mr. Brennan. Include me on that, please. I just like to know
Very
who's
well.
coming up the next day because I have to prepare as well.
Happy to. Thank you.
Okay? All right, so we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you again.
All rise.
You hear that? Woo! I don't know who the hell that was. Guys, it's 11 o'clock my time. I mean, I think wow. Okay. Adios, amigos. We're done on that part. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to do the giveaway. I want to go ahead and complete all my college homework for this week today. So I'm going to take advantage of this afternoon off. They wanted to blame KR and didn't follow any leads and told them otherwise. Yeah, everybody has their opinion. When I first started looking at this case, I felt she was guilty. So you never know. So we're going to have a short day too. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm pulling up. I'm not done yet. I'm just thanking you. I need to pull up all of the StreamYard giveaways. Is that the only one we have? I think so. All right. The StreamYard giveaway is next. Well, the entry. The entry is next. I don't want to share Facebook, but what I'll do is y'all looking at my Facebook. Okay, there we go. Let's draw for our winner. Agree, Aaron. Congratulations, one sunny day. Congratulations. I'm not saying she's guilty or not. I should have rephrased it better. What I'm saying is I didn't see enough evidence to convict her. That's all. Yeah. So, and that means, I mean, she's not guilty until proven guilty. She's innocent until proven guilty. So, okay, guys, I am so blessed to have you. I am so blessed to be able to do what I do. And I look forward to seeing y'all again tomorrow morning, bright and early, or whenever they go live. They may go live in the afternoon. I don't know which. It is a half day. So when they go live again, we're going to go live. This Sunday, we will be having our Sunday night live. We're going to recap this a little bit. We're going to tap into another case. I'm going to start talking about another case that nobody is covering, but I need to get all the documents together if I can. I think after an unlicensed case, I've come to realize that there's something fishy with the police's behavior. There's a lot of fishy business in the police's behavior. Now, I know people who've done things and have been guilty and the police acted inappropriate and fishy. Both were wrong. So you're still 50-50. Well, there you go. And that's a perfect place to be. So with that, we will see y'all at least tomorrow. And if tomorrow doesn't happen because they don't have a live coverage, then we will for sure see you Sunday night and again Monday morning. Thank you so much, my mods and everybody in Discord. I want to give a special thank you to Gabby. You know what it's for. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Her policy and investigators can change their story, but yeah, exactly. All right. Have a nice day. It's beautiful outside. I'm going to go outside. I want to get some fresh air. I might find a nice place to sit and do my homework. Got to get my homework done. It's a lot this week. So have a great day. Again, thank you for joining. Come back. Thanks. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.